guys, welcome back to the Boundary Riders YouTube channel, and today we are here for the first time of 2024 to take a look at some trade news. Now we're going to be trying to cut through all the bull crap of the journalist stuff, give our opinions on different player movement news so far, and that's basically what we do throughout a whole series throughout the year. We're doing one early just to cut through a couple of the bull crap ones that we've seen so far, but we are joined by our podcast co-host in Jack with me. So we've seen some already big trade rumours dropping through in the first, 4 or 5 rounds of the season, which is just pretty ridiculous, let's be honest. So we're going to be cutting through all the bull crap today. But the first thing I wanted to quickly bring up is that the AFL have confirmed the dates, or the start dates and end dates for free agency and the trade period going into the end of 2024. So free agency will start on October the 4th and finish on the 11th, and the trade period will run from the 7th of October to the 16th of October. But let's move to our first player, and it is Jack Lukosius. Now there has been a little bit of news about Jack Lukosius probably since the start of his career, maybe moving back to SA, and obviously the guy who was drafted with him, Isaac Rankin, already went back to the Adelaide Crows. Jack Lukosius did decide to stay, but there is some news that there could be some bad blood between him and Damien Hardwick because they've moved him into the back 50. I think this is pretty bullcrap, to be honest. I'm going to put a pretty big bullcrap stamp on this one at the moment because I think that he's played quite well in the back line so far this year. Doesn't look like he's any sort of like distressed at all. And the big one about this one is the reporting is that they're saying that he could be moving, like clubs believe that he's going to be moving or whatever, but the reporter on this has not mentioned a club involved. That always makes me think, well, that's just a bunch of bullcrap.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, that one. I actually, they're going to disagree. I think there's some substance to it. Even though they haven't mentioned a club, I reckon the Crows are going to go hard for him at the end of the year. Well, they've already got deep pockets. Like they said, that the rumour was that the Crows offered Goulden 10 years. For some
millions of dollars,
So they're gonna look hard, and I think they will look at Lukosius.
I think they do need a replacement for Taylor Walker when he eventually does retire.
Yeah, even if they want to use him off the half back, Brodie Smith, he looks like he's nearly done as well.
Next one we've got is Liam Baker. A lot of talk about him being looked at by both WA clubs. They're very keen on getting him back home, considering he is out of contract. This was from Ryan Daniels, the reporter. I think this has a little bit of substance to it on the fact that at the moment Richmond are in a bit of a rebuild. Liam Baker's going to be a player that they could probably lose. I think he's very important to them, but I do think that he has some pretty big value. So I think that both West Coast or Fremantle would throw a pretty big amount at Richmond to get him in. I think he's very good for both teams, obviously being a small forward or even a wingman, or I think he can play pretty much anywhere on the ground, Liam Baker. So I think this is a chance. I'm not going to say it's... I would go 50-50 at this stage, especially considering he is uncontracted. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of substance to it. I think he's worth a second round pick. Tigers will probably look for a first rounder, but he's not worth that. But I think a second rounder he's worth. I think West Coast will look really hard at him.
Yeah, I think that's what West Coast do need. They need that like middle range because they've got quite a few older players and quite a few younger players, but there's not many sitting in that middle range.
Yeah, and that's what they need at the moment.
So you think West Coast would be more of a viable option than Fremantle at this stage, or you think it's about 50-50?
I think so. I think Dockers need to look at someone more of a tall forward.
Hey you. Yeah, you. I saw your little TikTok brain losing focus. Make sure to switch on and check this out.
BR Designs, our very own design company, is your one-stop shop for all your AFL prints. We have designs for every single team, so make sure to head down to the description below and make sure to use our unique features of scanning the QR code will actually bring up on your phone the highlight that you have the design for. And also, before you check out, make sure to use code
YouTube
for 10% off your purchase for the next 48 hours. So getting quick, guys, and let's get back into the video.
Well, speaking of Fremantle, obviously the big one would be Logan McDonald at the Sydney Swans. Now, this has been going for a couple of years. Obviously, in the last trade period, the main reason people believe why Fremantle didn't go really for anyone in the last trade period is because they were saving up their cash to go for a big money move to try and pick up Logan McDonald. They've also got a lot of draft capital as well they can use to trade to Sydney. But there's been a lot of reports, especially in the past few weeks, of the Sydney Swans basically having their young players in a meeting saying that they want to stay together to build a dynasty at the club. Logan McDonald seems pretty happy at Sydney, and I think Sydney will do everything they can to keep him at the club. Now, I am a Swan supporter, but I don't think he's going. That's just me. Now, we have seen the likes of like Jordan Dawson in the past basically be keen to stay at the Swans, but Sydney weren't willing to offer him enough. So that could be the case on Logan McDonald's side. But Fremantle, if they are going to go for anyone this off-season, they have to go hard for Logan McDonald. That has to be their one tall target that they have to go for, I believe, because he is a WA person as well.
Whatever capital money they've got Freo, they'll chuck at him. The thing is that Sydney will have to probably still pay a bit of overs to keep him because he is going to be offered so much from Fremantle, but I think he will stay.
So next we'll get to Will Hayward, obviously a Sydney Swans player as well. There's been talk about Carlton and Melbourne potentially looking at him, and obviously last year in the trade period, he is obviously from South Australia, a bit of Adelaide as well, we're looking at him. As a Sydney Swans fan, I actually think he may be the one that gets pushed out. I think that he's not consistent enough, and I think that if Sydney are going to have to pay overs, I mean, they've already paid quite a bit for Errol Golden. They're going to have to keep, I think Chad Warner's coming out of contract pretty soon as well, and Logan McDonald, all these younger guys. I feel like Will Hayward may be the one that gets pushed out in the end. He is a favourite of John Longmire, so that may push him into different calculations, but at this stage, and I do know he likes Sydney, has a lot of mates at the Sydney Swans, of course, but I do think if any of the Swans players can be pushed out in the next trade period, it would be Will Hayward.
I just think he could be pushed out, and a team like the Crows need that sort of player that's that sort of experience in that forward line to help them out when Taylor Walker does retire.
He's kind of a hybrid forward that they don't really have at this stage, I would say. I mean, Rankin's more of a small, Rochelle's more of a small.
Yeah, and they're trying to push them through the midfield as well, so...
Yeah, that may be an option they look for going to the forward line as well. Another interesting one, man, that may some people may not have seen, is Harry Perryman. He's been looked at by Port Adelaide as an unrestricted free agent from the GWS Giants. Interesting player, kind of a hybrid, sort of all-round player, plays up through the wings and half-back role as well. I think he could be an important player for the Giants to keep, but there is also a chance as well, because the Giants, they have been able to clear out some salary cap space in the past few years, but eventually you have to get rid of some players, those sort of role players that could warrant, more money at another club. So this is definitely a wait and see to the end of the year, I would say. How would you feel about Harry Perryman joining Port Adelaide?
I think it's a good fit. I think he's more of an agile player that Port Adelaide can use, because a lot of Port Adelaide's running defenders, if you want to say Houston, Burton, even Farrell, like Farrell's really the only one that's giving you pace, and even on the wings like Burgoyne and stuff like that, you need a bit more pace these days, and Harry Perryman will give you that.
I've got a couple more to look at. One is John Noble. Now, this was reported at the start of the year more, that the Gold Coast were looking at him on his availability, considering he was out of favour with Craig McRae and he wasn't getting into the team. Now, since then, he has been getting a regular spot in the Collingwood lineup. So I think the warmth of him, looking at other clubs probably has tapered off a little bit. This will probably be a wait and see till the end of the year. I think he could bring something to another club, John Noble, though. Obviously, was in their best team before the finals last year and then got out of favour. Probably Will Hoskin-Elliott went to that half-back line. Seems like he's gone more forward now and John Noble's got back into the team. So I think it will be a wait and see till the end of the year for John Noble.
Yeah, I think if Collingwood get the offer from a rival club, they'll look at it, and if it's good for them, they'll take it.
Yeah, because I think they do have replacements in that area that they could put in there, like Markov. And after that, this was right back at the start of the year, and this was from our fan favourite reporter, Tom Morris. He has said that Cam Zurhaar is a chance to leave, and that the Swans have early interest in the free agent. Now, it'd be funny if he did leave, because he was so adamant against Jason Horne-Francis leaving a couple of years ago. But like we mentioned in the podcast a couple of weeks or last week, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a big exodus of players at North Melbourne leaving, especially the experienced ones, because yes, you can get some sort of money at North Melbourne, but you're not going to get any success, especially for a player like Cam Zurhaar. I don't think he's only got maybe 5 or 6 years left, probably, of good football. I don't see him, getting a premiership at North Melbourne. So if he's looking for success, he's probably going to go elsewhere.
Yeah, I think he will look elsewhere and get a lot of scrutiny from it, but I think he wants the success that he's not going to get probably.
Let's be
in
honest,
a long time.
You can hear all the scrutiny you want if you go and win a premiership outside of it.
Yeah,
doesn't mean
exactly.
much.
Yeah, if he wins a premiership in 3 years somewhere else, the only ones that will be complaining are the footy media.
Yeah,
North Melbourne
fans. And it's like, well, yeah, I can't really hear you over this premiership medallion.
Yeah.
Sorry. I mean, this is Tom Morris reporting though, so I mean, he was the one who came up with the Clayton Oliver story last year and was blatantly wrong about it. So I mean, it's a wait and see. I mean, at this stage, he may resign next week with North Melbourne with Tom Morris's reporting. But anyway, the last one I wanted to take a look at is more about St Kilda, because there's been a lot of news about St Kilda having a huge chest of money to throw at a big player, like a top player in the AFL. Now, a couple of years ago, they went really hard for Jordan De Goey, and they didn't lock him down. He re-signed with Collingwood. They've gone after big players like Josh Kelly in the past as well, and they've just never really been able to land the big fish. But they have mentioned this year that players like Davies Uniacke, Brayshaw, McCluggage are in their eyes. They're trying to think about a big player they're going to try and go for. So do you think that St Kilda can actually land a big fish?
Yeah, I think they can. I think with the amount of money they do have, something's got to eventually give it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is the case. But I mean, they have overpaid for players that they don't, that aren't worthy of that. I know Brad Hill's been good for them, but is he really worth nearly $1 million? I don't think so.
Yeah. But I think you're seeing in the last couple of years that the evolution of the St Kilda Football Club in King, Liam Henry coming in before he got injured, he was starting to perform. Brad Hill, to be honest, and like the midfield that have got the Jack Steele, Sinclair when he's going through it, they're starting to build a team. I think they just need the experiences.
Well, they've named 3 here, like midfielders that could be an option: Davies Uniacke, McCluggage, and Brayshaw. Do you think? If you had to pick out of them 3, who do you think would be most likely to leave and go to St Kilda? If they were all offered 1.1 million for a year, like on a big contract, like 10 years, let's just say something stupid. Maybe not that many, maybe 7 years or something. Who do you think would be most likely to leave?
Probably Luke Davies Jr. If he wants to play finals, yeah, he's going to get more of a chance than St Kilda. North Melbourne look like they're decades away at the moment how they're performing. So I think if you're going to look at Davies Uniacke, I think you give him the bank and he'd consider it.
Yeah, I don't see that Brayshaw would probably leave. McCluggage,
I think it's a bit
maybe?
that. Yeah, I think that's 50-50. I think if you're looking at it, Brayshaw unlikely, 50-50 McCluggage.
If I had to rank them, probably even if those 3 are the ones they're looking for, go Davies Uniacke, McCluggage, and then Brayshaw, in my opinion, as well.
Yeah.
I feel a little bit opposite. I don't think St Kilda can. I feel like they're still not to that level yet that they can attract big players. So I think they're going to have to wait a little bit longer. But I do think that if they throw the bank at someone, maybe they can knock someone in. They can bring someone in. Yeah, guys, that's basically all we have for the trade video, the first one of the year. As we get closer to the end of the year, we'll be probably doing these every couple of weeks, and then when we get right close to the trade period, we'll be trying to do these weekly. But thank you for listening and watching, guys. If you enjoyed this little breakdown of the trades, rumours and stuff, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We've actually put this up on Spotify as well because, you're an idiot to see it. It's more information based, so similar to like the review. We'll chuck it on Spotify as well. So if you're over there, make sure to follow and leave us 5 stars so you are notified on the podcast, the review every single week, and the trade news. So we're putting it everywhere, guys. Just get on now before we've got too many supporters and we, become huge, big time, guys. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you all next time.
See you later, guys.